Welcome to Copilot in Productivity Apps. In this session, you'll learn how Copilot works inside the productivity tools you already use every day. A tool is only as effective as the skillfulness of the hands that wield it. Copilot delivers the most value when it's used with clear intent and strong prompts. Copilot is embedded directly into Microsoft 365. It works across Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, and OneNote. There's no new platform to learn. Copilot works where you already work. With a new partnership with Anthropic, Copilot has a new feature that uses multiple models, including Claude, and takes the actions and performs them right in your files by selecting to allow editing, and we will see that in the demos. Let's start with Copilot in Word. Copilot helps you draft content from notes or outlines. It summarizes long documents into key points. It rewrites text for clarity, tone, or persuasion. It adjusts formality and length. And it helps brainstorm ideas, titles, and alternatives.
Open Word, and in the top right, hit the Copilot icon. Uncheck Allow Editing in Chat Only. Type in your prompt and hit Go. You can see Copilot using its reasoning skills to go through and try to put together a proposal. Because Copilot is grounded in my work data, it's going to look through my emails, my Teams chats, my meeting recordings, transcripts, anything I have access to that references this information to put together this proposal. Now you can see that it has come up with the items it thinks are required for my proposal. So it's going to start preparing this proposal information in the Copilot chat panel, and you'll start to see the information roll out in the panel. And now I have the draft proposal here below. I can either download the file, or I can take the output and paste it into my open Word document. While this is running, again, you'll see the stop icon, and then once that's completed, you'll see that it's just waiting for my next steps. As you look through the content, you can see that it's sourcing everything that it has available, so that way I can verify the information is accurate. Okay, now that it's completed the task, I can simply hit the plus icon and you'll see all this information copied over to my Word document. And there it is. Now, one thing to note is that it will copy over everything, not just the sections that you feel are important. It will copy over everything to the document. Now, if you hit this icon here where it says chat and you select allow editing, you can then go back and have Copilot update all of this information for you so you don't have to do anything anymore. So I'm going to paste my new prompt. I want it to update the language for an elementary school audience. And then I'm going to watch Copilot go to work making the changes to the documentation. And as you can see, a lot of this content has been updated, and you will see that it's highlighting this content in blue so I can see where there are changes being made and where there's content that is left alone. The vocabulary has changed dramatically from what would be an executive level readout to what could be conveyed to an elementary school student. Okay, so now the work is done. Again, Copilot has gone in and updated the language to be for an elementary school audience. And you can see that everything is aligned here for that tone. And so now I can hit done if I want to keep it, or I can hit undo to go back and have it redo this work.
Next, let's look at Copilot in Excel. Copilot summarizes data trends. It generates formulas using natural language. It suggests charts and visuals. It highlights anomalies. And it provides insights without requiring advanced Excel expertise.
Now let's look at Copilot in Excel. When working in Excel, it's recommended to turn on autosave before you begin work with Copilot. I'm going to click on Copilot in the ribbon, and it'll open up the chat pane on my right. By default, the setting will be turned on to allow editing, which makes it possible for Copilot to go directly into the workbook and make changes. You can choose to hit the caret and choose chat only, where Copilot will just respond with the answer, and then you'll have to go in and manually enter the changes into your spreadsheet by yourself. You, as always, can change the model that's being used in case there's a specific model that you've had greater success with or one that you prefer to use. If you leave it set to automatically, Copilot will make the best choice among the models that are available. So I'm going to put in my prompt that I want 100 rows of mocked up data that I can use to demonstrate Copilot working. And as you can see, my spreadsheet is starting to populate with some mocked up data. Again, this is fake data for demonstration purposes, but you can see that it's taken the request of giving mocked up sales numbers for the past 12 months, and you can see some of the popular candy bars. Within the Copilot chat pane, I can see the reasoning summary here, the list of candy bars, and how it came to be with this information. I can hit done, and that will close out this particular task item. Now, in order to showcase some of the more advanced features of Copilot, I'm going to add in an additional prompt. So now I want Copilot to generate some graphical data for me, because seeing sales numbers doesn't really catch the eye. So now I want it to give me some graphical representation of the sales content and give me several versions so that way I can choose the best looking visual representation. And then I'm going to send it on its way. Already you can see that it's put together some summary tables that it's going to utilize to put together my graphs. And so it's compiled some information together, and the spreadsheets are now being populated with some graphical representations of the sales data. Okay, so now Copilot has finished putting together several charts for me. You can see here it's created 6 different charts. I can look through the charts. I'm going to hit done to now go look at the charts that it's created. And without anything other than a prompt, Copilot has put together some mocked up data and some graphical representations.
Now, let's explore Copilot in PowerPoint. Copilot creates presentations from text or documents. It rewrites slide content for clarity or tone. It suggests layouts and visuals. It generates speaker notes and talking points. And it simplifies long slides into concise summaries.
Okay, so now let's look at PowerPoint and what Copilot can do within PowerPoint. So from a new slide, I'm going to choose my Energy branded, and I want Copilot to work within this deck. So I'm going to go to Copilot and open up the chat pane. And again, allow editing will be set as my default. I'm going to put in my prompt. I want 5 slides on the most popular candy bars using my branded slides. And now I'm going to let Copilot run and think about how it's going to produce this new deck that's going to be 5 slides utilizing my branded content. Now, occasionally, when working with Copilot, it will come back and ask you some additional questions. So, how do I want to proceed? I want to, let's see, I'm going to use fun facts and history. And how should the slides be structured? Overview and deep dives. And then I'm going to hit confirmed. And now that that has been chosen, Copilot will again to start reason through what my outputs need to be. Okay, so now after some time, Copilot has reasoned through what it thinks is going to be a good presentation. And you can see that it took 9 steps for it to get there. And here's a lot of the explanation of how it got there. But let's look at the slides and see what we've got. So you can see that it's mapped out this content on the NRG branded slides. And this is a good starting point for the deck that I want to build. Now, this wouldn't be the final product, but this is somewhere that I can start and refine my PowerPoint presentation based on all the content that Copilot has put together for me.
Next, let's look at Copilot in Outlook. Copilot summarizes long email threads. It drafts responses based on tone and context. It extracts key points, tasks, and deadlines. It rewrites messages for clarity or brevity. And it suggests meetings or replies.
Let's take a look at how Copilot can help you in Outlook. If I'm in an email string, and at the top, I can click Summary by Copilot. So think of a long email thread where there's several emails and some of the content and context has been lost. You can click Summary by Copilot, and Copilot will put together a quick summary of the email thread. Additionally, if I hover over the Copilot icon in the top right, I get 3 suggested prompts. So I'm going to hit Summarize and Reply. And then I'm going to let Copilot generate for me a summary and a quick reply that I can then send back to this email thread based on the last exchange that was captured here. You can see in the bottom right, the stop icon is still showing, so Copilot is still putting together my response. But after it's done, I have a simple draft that I can then copy into an email and reply back with some summary points. Additionally, if I'm in a new email string, I can click Help Me Write and put in a prompt. And you can see here, Edit with Copilot is active. And what this means is when I get my draft response, Copilot will place it in the email and I can go ahead and update from there. So I'm going to kick off my prompt. And then once Copilot is done putting together a response, you will see that the draft email appears within the email space. And there you have it. And as always, with any AI, trust but verify. So I want to make sure that I read through this draft email before I hit send. But I now have a starter email that I can work from to maybe give me some ideas of what I should reply back with from the email string. And all of this was done with one simple prompt and a few button clicks.
Now, let's explore Copilot in Teams. Copilot assists during meetings by summarizing discussions and capturing action items. It summarizes chat threads and drafts responses. And it can be added to group chats to support collaboration.
Now let's look at one way that Copilot can help you within the Teams environment. So I'm currently in a chat with some colleagues, and there's been a lot of information, as you can see, that has been discussed over the course of many weeks. So as a project manager, maybe I'm concerned there's some action items that have been missed. Maybe I am out of date of what the summary of the content is. So I want Copilot to review this whole chat and tell me a lot of the information so I don't have to try to read this line by line. So I'm going to click the Copilot chat icon and open the chat pane. And I'm going to have it go through and review this conversation. So I wanted to summarize a thread and give me 5 bullet points on what I need to know for the next meeting and what outstanding items exist and who owns them. And then I'm going to let Copilot run and put together an answer for me based on what's listed here. Are there details that I have missed? Are there things I need to be prepared for? And so again, you see it referencing my role. And then here's a summary of what information is happening in this conversation. You can see I have my brief overview, and then I've got 5 things I need to know for the next meeting. And then here's an action items list, and there's a clear indicator here that I didn't assign any activities to people. So I can then go back and get these activities assigned. And all of this was done with a simple prompt.
Finally, let's look at Copilot in OneNote. Copilot summarizes notes and meetings. It organizes content into structured outlines. It generates to-do lists and action items. And it helps turn notes into plans.
Let's look and see how Copilot can help you make sense of your mess in OneNote. So if you're like me, you use OneNote to jot down quick messages from meetings or chats so you can keep a running thought process happening in a note format. Oftentimes you'll end up with jargon and gibberish lines. And so what I can do with Copilot is I can open up the Copilot chat pane and ask it, help me summarize this note file and give me 10 important topics to dig deeper in research on. And then I'll have Copilot run through this note list and try to pull out from it some sort of semblance of useful information from what I've written here that uses a lot of different acronyms and jargon, and the topics range from a lot of different things. So here you can see that it's summarized what the conversation is about. And the 10 most important topics to research are model scoring, the CI/CD pipeline, and governance gate design. And with this, I can use this note file and still be able to pull out useful information.
Thank you for completing this session. We encourage you to start using Copilot in your daily work and apply these techniques right away.